Hello everyone, my name's David, and today I want to talk to you about a four-letter word. It starts with C, it has an N, and a T, and an apostrophe and an A. What kind of channel do you think I'm running here, people? Alright, here we go. This has been on my mind for a while, and I've touched on it on a few different videos, and I wanted to talk about the word can't, and in particular how can't worms its way in to a discussion about failure and quitting and the difference between those two. This is something that's been heavy on my mind lately. Just as I've been going through my own struggles with writing a book. There's no instant gratification when you can't just sit down and be like, I'm going to write a book. And then there's the book, unless it's, like a picture book with no pictures because you can't draw and only like 12 words. Like then, okay, maybe you can get one out in a single day. But when you're trying to write something that's got 80 or 90,000 words in it, and on a good day, you can write some of them, and those good days are once every week or two. This is a long-term project and a long-term goal with a lot of struggles. And not only just the self-doubt stuff, which is something that hits really close to home for me, because every day I wake up and I'm not sure if I'm going to be like, hey, I'm awesome and I'm doing this and this is incredible, or hey, I suck really bad and this is a disaster and why do I even bother? Now that's normal. I think that's normal for everybody struggling with something that's a goal that they've idealized and that's really important to them. So one of the things that I'm always interested in, just for myself and in terms of other people too, is how do you view failure and how do you view quitting? And do you see them both as bad things, or do you see some good in all of that? I'm going to give you my view on this. I am very curious as to, this is a topic that's just very near and dear to me, from all of my experience with martial arts and with my views on personal achievement. I'm really curious to know, is there something that you have failed at multiple times and you finally achieved? And if so, please write it in the comments. I'm really curious to see what kind of feedback I can get from you all on this. And so I just want to know what your struggles are and what you've accomplished, or if you're in the middle of it and you're struggling now, which is really awesome, because maybe this conversation is coming at you at the exact moment that you need it. And that's always my hope. So I see failure as something incredible and awesome. Failure to me is not a bad thing. Failure to me is a simple measuring stick. It's something that tells me that there's an obstacle in my way that I don't know how to solve yet, and that I'm going to have to solve that. Quitting is super easy. It's the easiest thing ever. If your goal is to run 2 miles, and I really hate running. I'm not a runner. But if your goal is to run 2 miles and you're a half mile in, quitting is that voice that says, stop right now, this sucks, let's go get donuts and tacos, and your afternoon will be way better and you won't hurt as much. Like, sometimes we want to listen to quitting. That's a good thing. And you know what? I mean, as like I say it like it's a bad thing, but sometimes you have to know when to quit. And those of you who have been in toxic relationships know exactly what I'm talking about. There comes that moment where you're like, you know what? I have to give up on this just for my own sanity. And that's okay. You cannot fix something that has a deep-seated desire to not be fixed. So to illustrate my view on failure as opposed to quitting, I want to just throw out a scenario, right? I want you to imagine, actually, we're going to do this together, okay? I want you to picture in your mind right now a goal that you have, and maybe it's a degree of some kind. Maybe you're going to school for something like medical or whatever, and it's a degree. Maybe, like me, you're a writer and you want to have that published book and hold it in your hands, and you really don't care about anything else, because that's where I am. Maybe it's achieving something as far as music, or as far as some kind of a work thing, or whatever it is. I want you to visualize that right now, and picture a long path, right? A real long gravel path. And at the end of it, there's your goal, right? There's that thing. So you start walking along this path and you've only just started. And the first thing that comes into your way is a wall. Now, it's not a big wall. It's not huge. And right next to you, off the path, but right next to you is your friend, and we'll call him Quitter, right? Your friend Quitter is right there and he's hanging out. And he's like, dude, that's a wall. Like, let's just go home. Turn around. This is ridiculous. And you're like, I really want this thing at the end of the path, so I'm going to try and get over it. And so you try and get over the wall, and you do. And you keep walking forward, and Quitter's like, all right, fine, whatever, we'll keep going. So you keep going along this path, you see your goal in the distance, up comes another wall. Now this wall is failure. And you try to get over it, and you can't. And you try to climb and scrape and claw, and you can't. And you end up bruised, and you end up cut, and there's a little bit of blood coming out of your arm. And Quitter is like, what are you doing? Stop it right now. This is the hard way. It's much easier. Just come off the path. Let's figure out a different path that's easier to get to your goal, or let's just have tacos and donuts and everything's going to be great and you'll have an awesome afternoon and we'll watch Disney movies and snuggle under a blanket. Not that there's anything wrong with that. That's totally like a fine way to spend an afternoon. And that wall, that failure wall, is looking at you and it's going to say something. And it's going to say, hey, listen, I know this is difficult. I know you're going to have a hard time getting over me, but your goal is right over there. Try again. So you do. And maybe you have to try again and again. And you get over it. You will get over that wall. And then you keep moving along on this path, and Quitter is like, geez, for crying out loud, like, I really just want to go home. And you're like, you know what? Let me just keep going a little bit longer. And then there's another wall. And this one you try and get over, and it's taller and it's more difficult and you're getting scraped up more and you fall down and you're hurting. And this wall, this failure is looking at you and it's saying, hey, you know what you need to do? Take a few steps back. Just relax. Keep your eye on me. Take a few steps back. Get up some momentum and get over me. And so you do it. You take that advice and you take a few steps back and it seems weird. And Quitter's like, dude, this is great. We're going backwards. Finally. Like, this is awesome. Let's stop now. And it sounds even better every time he says it. And then you take those steps back. You take those steps back and you're like, all right, I'm going to take a big breath. I'm going to move forward and I'm going to get over this thing. And you do it again. And then another wall happens and you do it again. And then another one that just seems as insurmountable as you could possibly approach is right in front of you. And this wall is big and bad. And it's like, you know what? This is going to be the toughest one yet. And I don't think you're going to make it. And Quitter's like, he's right. We need to find this different way to go. But you take that advice and you take what you learned and you take a couple steps back and you try. And you take a few more steps back and you try again. And you try again. And you persevere. And that wall's like, you know what? You're trying really hard. And I know you're going to get over me. And when you do, you're going to look over your shoulder and you're going to see me. And you're going to be like, you know, that wasn't that bad. And so you'll do it again and you'll make it over. And eventually that goal is going to be right in front of you. And you'll look back and you'll see all of those obstacles and all those scrapes and bruises and pain and all that stuff that you went through. And Quitter that whole time saying, come on, let's stop this already. This is ridiculous. You're wasting your time. All those voices that you hear from everybody and from yourself saying, don't do this. All of those things are going to be behind you and you're going to have that goal right in front of you and you're going to step to it and you're going to grab it. And I don't know what it is, but I know you can do this. And none of this is possible without failure, because no matter what we're doing, there's challenges right in front of you and they're going to get more difficult and they're going to get harder. And you're always going to have those negative voices, that Quitter voice that's going to say, stop, this is too hard. Let's do something else. But if you really want that goal and you've idealized it and it matters to your heart and it matters in your head, then that's the one that you have to move forward and get. And believe me, it can be really hard. And I know it can be really hard because it's something that I've gone through multiple times. And each time I've got that voice and that voice is saying, stop, don't do this, quit. It's not worth it. This is too much trouble. You're not going to get anything out of this. But it's not really about that. And it's about your motivation for it. And if you're chasing something that you love and you want in the worst way, then why would you listen to that voice that says, nah, let's do this the easy way? You can't. And you have to understand that sometimes it is going to look like you're going backwards. And even if you are going backwards, you can still move forward and you can get over those walls. And no matter what it is. And yes, it's really difficult. And yes, you'll fail and you'll fall on your butt and you'll get hurt and people will laugh at you when you fall. And the thing is, and the thing to remember is that as much as there may be somebody else around that is looking at you and they're shaking their head and they're like, you're ridiculous trying this. You know, why would you even bother? And all those naysayers that say you can't and that you won't and, you know, you shouldn't do it and all of those different things. There are a million voices out there that are going to say you can't do something and that you're terrible at it and that you're no good. And if you listen to all of that, of course you're going to quit. That's just going to magnify that quitter voice beside you. But the thing to remember is that all of those people that are the naysayers, all of the ones telling you you can't write and you can't write a book, or you can't create a beautiful piece of art, or you can't follow a career in music, or you can't follow a career in the medical field, or you can't do these things that you are passionate about and that you know in your heart you need to do. All of those people, when you finally get past all of those failures, and when you finally do learn from all of that and reach your goal, those are the ones that are going to be sitting there saying out of the other side of their mouth, I knew they could do it. And I was there the whole way. I was there the whole time motivating them with negativity, which makes no sense. So these are my views on failure and quitting. You know, I don't see failure, and I've never seen failure as a bad thing. You know, if it's something physical and in my life, it came through martial arts. From my first martial arts class, we're supposed to do 10 push-ups and I can't do 8, you know, and on my first black belt test, we're cranking out 50 at a time until we, over the course of hours and hours and hours, we hit 1,000 push-ups, not all at once. You can't do them all at once. But that wouldn't have happened if I didn't have wall after wall after wall and failure after failure saying, hey, step back, understand that you need to get better and you need to grow. And when you do, you're going to get over this wall. And that's what happens. And it's all part of this entire process of growing through all of these struggles and realizing what it is that you really want to do and just kind of focusing on that. So this comes on a day where this past weekend, I hit the 50,000 word mark in my own novel. And so, you know, I'm aiming for 80,000 and to have less than 30 to go, remembering how much of a struggle it was for me to get to 30, this is exactly in front of me right now. Is it's another wall and another wall, and now that wall is the ending, and I'm seeing just past it is where my goal is of having this finished book. And yes, I'm gonna have to do editing for like the next 50 years or whatever, but it doesn't matter. Like I'm gonna tackle that wall when I get to it. But you end up doing this. When I sat down to start, it's like write a book. I don't have a single word down. I have a character and a basic setting. I don't know what to do, but all of these things take shape and you look for some advice and you look for the right things and you learn how to get past them. And it's like that for anything. So I'm really hoping this video is just a bit of a boost that you need. If there's something that you're working towards and something you're trying really hard to get, and it matters in your heart and it matters in your head, I want you to understand that failure is a good thing. You will fail. It's okay. Just learn from it and do it again and do it again and get past those walls. So let me know. Let me know in the comments. If you like this video, obviously, please subscribe. It's important to me that we just keep building this community of people that are looking for these positive things, and hit the bell and all that so you get some notifications. I do a lot of posts on the community page and everything else. But more importantly than that, in the comments section, even if you've never commented on a video before, let this be the first one, right? And go ahead and just open up and show me what is one of the struggles that you've had? What is one of the failures that you've had? And how are you getting past it? And what is your goal? And what is this struggle like? And I hope, maybe after watching this plays a little part in making it a little easier to get over some of those walls and making Quitter's voice just a little, just shush. We got to tell him to shush, right? Just for a little bit and let you focus and get past the things that you need to get past. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you. I adore interacting with you. So please find me on hit the website and all that kind of stuff, and just drop me a line sometimes, say hi. If you like these videos, great. If you don't, sorry. I don't know. This is all I'm doing, people. So there we go. And anyway, I will see you on the next video. I've got lots more cool stuff planned. I want to sit and have some more talks with you. So thank you. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you on the next video.